Haunted dolls have been a staple in horror stories and movies over recent years. Even when they're not linked to a haunting or paranormal activity, there's something about dolls which a lot of people find creepy or unsettling, which makes them ideal topics for horror media. And so in this video, we'll be looking at 5 of the lesser known haunted dolls that still have very disturbing histories and paranormal activity surrounding them. Number 5. Robert. Robert was handmade by the Steiff Company in Germany around the turn of the 20th century and belonged to a boy named Robert Eugene Otto. The doll measures 40 inches tall, which is unusual for a doll of this period, which lends weight to the idea that Robert was made in the image of his intended owner. The doll was assigned the name Robert after his owner, as the boy at this point preferred to be called by Jean, and the pair of them were best friends growing up. While popular legend speculates that voodoo was involved in the doll's early years, interviews with those close to the Otto family suggest the large amount of emotional energy placed upon the doll during Jean's lifetime has a larger part to play in explaining its paranormal behaviour. It is said that Jean would often blame the doll when misbehaving as a child, pointing to the doll and informing an adult that Robert was responsible instead. The doll, which is reputed to be cursed, has over time become a highly popular section of ghost tours in Key West, Florida, where it now resides following Jean's death in 1974. Before moving to its current location, but after Jean's passing, the doll was left in an attic room within Jean's house. Among other stories, tenants renting Jean's old property regularly heard footsteps in the attic. A plumber heard giggling whilst working in the room and turned to notice the doll had moved across the room by itself. And a reporter named Malcolm Ross visited Robert and experienced something more unnerving. During the visit, within the attic room, Ross was informed of Robert's backstory. It was at this point Malcolm noticed a change in the doll's expression, as if it was following the conversation, and when one of the men made a comment about what an old fool Jean Otto must have been, likely regarding the quantity of old children's furniture still within the room, Robert's facial expression supposedly turned to one of disdain and anger, clearly upset by the remark. After Jean's death, a woman named Myrtle Reuter purchased the Otto home, and in 1994 she donated Robert to the Fort East Martello Museum, claiming it moved around the house on its own. Myrtle died a few months later, but Robert remained active. Though Robert was not initially on display, once he was put up as an exhibit, cameras and electronic devices began to malfunction in his presence, and soon letters began arriving addressed to the doll itself, offering apologies for the disrespectful behaviour in its presence, or asking forgiveness for photographs which were not formally requested. Evidently, failing to treat the doll with due respect does not bode well for the perpetrators. Number 4. The Blinded Singaporean Doll. Information on this doll varies across sources, but the backstory is as follows. The blinded doll was found beside a high-traffic street in Singapore. The Arabic word on the cloth is debated, but is loosely translated as Allah or in the name of Allah, or something to that effect. The reasoning behind the inscription would be to act as a seal of some kind, so the doll could not see its surroundings and to bind the spirit inside the doll. Stories from the web stated that the doll is or was possessed, and that it had been moving around the house on its own when the original owner wasn't home. The owner bound the eyes of the doll and abandoned it far away from the house in an attempt to prevent it following them back to the property. Some sources say the doll can be heard talking when it's left alone in a room and is often found with its head turned in a different direction. It is said that the doll spoke in a Malay language and like an adult female. The original owner found that the only way to get rid of it and make sure it didn't return was to remove its eyesight. The curse is rumoured to have passed to whoever found it and unknowingly removed the blindfold. The doll has been missing since it was found on the roadside, and supposedly on the same day of its discovery, suicides began to occur in the area and a murder was reported to police. Number 3. Alice. Information is scarce in relation to Alice. What little we do know is that Alice lives with its owner, Mary Ford, in Washington, USA. This doll is said to whisper to you if you were to press your ear close to her lips. Its eyes will follow you around the room, and its facial expression will change if it decides that she does not like you. The doll has been kept in the Ford family for generations, and is always kept in a locked glass display case. Ford's grandmother said it was possessed by the spirit of her best friend named Alice who passed away. Ford states that she has captured many instances of electronic voice phenomena from the doll. The most common statement Alice makes is as follows: "I want to be left alone to suffer." Stories of dolls becoming imbued with the spirit of a recently deceased person are commonplace, though the person in question usually owned the doll as a child or would have had a strong link through later ownership. The lack of information on Alice could be attributed to a number of reasons, though most likely is that its owner is respecting the messages received from the doll that it wants to be left alone to suffer. Number 2. Peggy. Jane Harris is a paranormal investigator who has taken possession of a haunted doll by the name of Peggy. Harris says Peggy was sent to her by a previous owner who sought to get rid of the doll after she became convinced that it was the cause of a series of terrifying experiences and illnesses. Peggy's former owner enlisted the help of a local priest after experiencing the persistent, terrifying nightmares, but the priest was unable to assist with the situation. She later fell ill with fever, and once she had recovered from her illness, she was convinced that Peggy was to blame for her experiences. The strange thing about Peggy is that she's had an effect on people who have never even been around her. When Harris posted photographs and videos online, approximately 80 people reported suffering from headaches, anxiety, and even visions of mental institutions. One woman even reported suffering from a heart attack after viewing online videos of the doll. Harris says that a lot of people, including 2 spiritual mediums, have said they feel the doll has links to the Holocaust, and that the spirit bound to the doll was possibly Jewish. Automatic writing sessions conducted in the presence of the doll have shown the word star and the name David appear, providing a possible link to the Holocaust theory. Haunted Dolls, Harris's organization for the study of such items, reportedly has its members doing everything to find out who or what is possessing Peggy. At first they believe the doll is inhabited by the spirit of a female born in 1946 in London, who died of a chest-related condition, possibly an asthma attack, but 4 different mediums have read Peggy, all consistently picking up that she is restless, frustrated, and was persecuted while she was still alive. Harris has received numerous reports from people around the world who have experienced strange things such as unexplained headaches, computer errors, and temperature changes in the room, all while viewing images or video of the doll online. Number 1. At the top spot on this list we have one of the more disturbing entries, a doll named Joliet. Anna is the current owner of an infant doll named Joliet, which has been in her family for 4 generations. It is said that the women in Anna's family are cursed to uphold a particularly unnerving tradition. Each daughter will give birth to 2 children, a boy and a girl. The son is destined to die 3 days after birth, and it is said that the child's spirit is then transferred to the doll, where the preceding male children from the family have already been sealed within. Joliet was given to Anna's great-grandmother by a supposed family friend, though it is believed that the doll was cursed at the time it was gifted to the family. After her great-grandmother gave birth to a boy, he sadly died 3 days later. While being a tragic incident in itself, the aforementioned series of events continue to this day, with each female family member up to and including Anna herself, befalling the same curse as her great-grandmother. 2 children born, a boy and a girl, but the boy sadly does not survive longer than the 3rd day. As if the family curse attributed to the doll were not disturbing enough, it is often heard giggling in multiple male infant voices. Sometimes the doll will scream again in different pitches, and the family states that the cries and screams made by the doll are all from the baby boys lost over the years. So there you have it, that was top 5 lesser known haunted dolls. Be sure to comment as well as like and subscribe if you've enjoyed the video. Check back soon for another top 5 darkest list. Until next time.